First of all, there's so much talk about Eskom and the concern out there from investors about what happens to it next. What can your department do to help Eskom out of the situation it's in?
I'm part of the team of 3 ministers who are focusing on trying to find solutions for Eskom, because Eskom is quite critical for our economic performance overall, because electricity supply security is critical for this economy to continue. Manufacturing and mining are the quickest victims when there are problems with energy supply. And therefore, we're working very hard to get solutions to challenges facing Eskom. Restructuring it, functional unbundling, beginning to ring fence the big debt that Eskom is facing, appreciate where it is originating, which part of Eskom should actually be needing our urgent attention is what we're busy with.
But, Minister, if labor unions don't get behind the plan, and they haven't so far, are you ready to fight them?
No, the unions are going to get behind the plan because at this point in time, they're doing what unions do normally, look after the interests of members. Unions are member-based organizations. Therefore, if there's a threat of retrenching workers, unions will have to fight. If they don't, they cease to be unions, and they will have no members.
Minister, we understand you will be taking the integrated resource plan to the cabinet in about 2 weeks' time. Talk a little bit more about this plan, because it envisions the participation of independent power producers side by side with Eskom. What kind of conversations have you had with some of these independent power producers and municipalities? Give us an update.
In the integrated resource plan, give us the framework for energy supply in the country. What options do we have? One of the things that we've come in to say it should not be the focus is to see it as a fight between renewables and coal, for example. It should be about security of supply. We're talking in the IRP of cleaner coal technologies. We're talking of modular supply of nuclear technology. We're talking of gas, we're talking of hydro, we're talking of renewables, both solar and wind. All of these can coexist and move systematically to the end state that we're envisaging.
And do these other players, whether it's independent power producers or municipalities, have any conditions for working with you on this?
Municipalities are on the third section of Eskom, which is distribution, because they are low voltage areas. And many of them owe Eskom a lot of money. And the discussion is how to recover that money from those municipalities and other government departments. Because if we can honor what we owe Eskom, we may reduce that debt hugely so. But we're working with everybody, we're involving everybody. Municipalities were involving, trade unions were involving communities in the discussion, so that all of us are part of trying to find a solution.
Right, but Minister, can you rule out a total collapse of Eskom if the rescue fails? Right, what happens if the rescue fails?
In 1993 to 97, I was in the board of Eskom. I know that it's quite a prestigious company. If it fails, that would be a disaster for South Africa. It's a good company. It must be redirected and managed properly. It must be put on the rail. It must move ahead. For example, our transmission is actually world class. Our generation is now having multi-sources. There's Eskom, there are renewables, IPPs, and they're playing in that space. And in distribution, Eskom distributes, municipalities distribute. Right. All we should is to
But the fate of this company is so tied to the fate of your country. What happens if the labor don't want the workforce to be trimmed? What happens if they're against the breakup plan?
No. As I said earlier, trade unions can't say trim the workforce, but as management and the leadership, we have a duty to do what is right for the country, more than what is just right for unions and workers. And we must do what can save the economy, what can save the country.